I think I smell a barbecue.
Spyro, Enter the Dragonfly, the most infamous Spyro game to have ever been released. Now, for those who don't know by any chance, Spyro the Dragon is a video game character that was created in 1998 by Insomniac Games, starting in his first game, aptly named Spyro the Dragon, an action platformer game where you collect the gems, rescue dragons, and explore different worlds. For the time, it was groundbreaking with its rendered distance technology and its graphics, which still today look pretty good for the time it was released at. Insomniac would go on to make 2 more Spyro games until deciding to move on to different projects such as Ratchet & Clank, as they thought all the ideas they had for Spyro were used up. So the Spyro license kinda fell into Universal's hands, who then had Harvest Interactive to develop a new Spyro game for the next gen consoles at the time, such as the PlayStation 2 and Xbox. With the help of Equinox Digital Entertainment and Check 6 Studios, originally the game was meant to be so much more, with the whole tonal update changed to be more adult and dark with Zelda-like RPG elements, with hub turns and changing seasons. Yeah, but that didn't happen. Instead, what we got was basically a carbon copy of what we had before, only worse. None of these concepts would make an end to the game, and it was rushed heavily to make the Christmas release date for 2002. And with it came very negative reactions, with reviewers saying it was awful, rushed, and even became a runner-up for the GameSpot's worst game on GameCube for 2002. The highest score it received was from a place called Hyper, which gave it a 67 out of 100, which was generous, not gonna lie. But other than that, it was just plagued with bugs and glitches, constant frame rate drops, a lack of content in general, and just no innovation. So I decided to play through an hour or so of Enter the Dragonfly and basically detail everything I witnessed. Now, I have played this game before a long time ago, and I never beat it because the game glitched out at a certain world and infinitely loaded for eternity, so I couldn't even progress no matter how much I reset the game or console. So my experience with this game is already quite tainted. Anyways, without further ado, here is some gameplay of Spyro Enter the Dragonfly and everything I witnessed. So to start out, the game looks really nice, at least sometimes. In fact, I would argue it is the best part about the game. It looks colourful, it's vibrant, it's really cartoony. I would say it's a really good looking game. It's just a shame everything else sucks. The game opens up on a party celebrating the Grand Dragon Parade, taking place very shortly after Year of the Dragon. Suddenly, Ripto shows up. Wait, didn't I literally send you into lava to drown? And captures all the dragonflies, including our buddy old pal Spox. But is this game gonna be bored and take Spox away from us? No. No, of course not. He's just chilling in the temple. Okay. I mean, I think it would have been a lot better if like the whole premise of the game was going back to rescue Spox from Ripto. That would have been an interesting concept, but okay. So Spyro and Spox are now tasked to go and rescue all the captured dragonflies in all the different realms. With the help of Bianca's magic, we obtain the bubble breath, and you're gonna be using this bubble breath a lot, chasing after dragonflies desperately. Please, I'm just trying to save you. Come back, you son of a bitch. Alright, now off we go. Okay. Spox is gonna stop me for a tutorial, right? Okay. Alright, now off we go. Okay, right, Spox. Yeah, I know about gems. I've been doing this for 3 games now. This is the 4th game. I get the concept, right? Thank you. Oh, for fuck! So before we go to the first world, I think I should talk about the controls. They ain't good. Spyro feels so heavy to control. Trying to direct him as well, he feels like he weighs a ton, and it's something you can only really know unless you play the game yourself, which I highly recommend you don't do. You've got your typical flame breath, which is all standard, and the bubble breath, like I mentioned earlier. Throughout the game, you get different breaths, such as ice as well, but I'm not putting myself through more torture than I need with this game. Anyway, so before we go to the first world, I attempt Hunter's Scarecrow Challenge. We gotta burn down these scarecrows in a time limit, but because Spyro turns like a tank, I just gave up doing this. It's not worth it. So, on to World 1. Did I also mention the load times in this game are horrendous? Yeah. This is in real time with me just waiting for the loading. This happens every time you go to a new area. So here we are, the Dragon Dojo. I again will mention that it doesn't look too bad. Some textures look a bit muddy, but I think the general cartoony style was done well. If only the level of graphics were consistent with every other aspect of this game. The game chugs. frame rate constantly drops no matter what you're doing. You could be standing still, you could be running, you could be attacking an enemy, anything goes with this game, and you'll see as we go on how bad it gets. Another thing to note is that the voice lines aren't in sync with how slow the text moves. So you could have a character be talking and finish, but the text will be like several lines behind, and get this, even if you press the X button once to speed up the text, the entire dialogue is cut and you don't even get to hear the voice acting.
Good work, Spyro-san. Those Rictox don't...
By freeing all of the Dragon Masters. Remember, Spyro, the whip.
I kept accidentally doing this as I'm so used to games just having you press X twice at least to both speed the text up and cancel the audio, but here it's, well, tough shit. So we rescue our first Dragon Master, who opens the next door. It's a pretty linear world, but has some branching paths for additional challenges and such. For a first world, it's alright. The lip syncing could have been a bit better, but that's just a general problem through most of the game. I mean, did you see how big Ripto's mouth was? We have our standard Whip Talk enemies and these orange lizard men who go down in a single hit. But with every attack, as the enemy falls, so does the frame rate. I can't stress this enough. Look how bad this is. Look at it! I'm playing on PlayStation 2! Look how bad this is! So I actually stumbled upon the challenge portal, which basically gives you two races, one being to flame each and every objective, such as lanterns, flying enemies, and these poor guys on the ground that make Spyro's legs go I actually managed to beat it the first try. Flying mechanics are okay, they take a bit to get used to, but they aren't awful. The second challenge though is a race. You basically gotta fly through rings and just get first place. But you wanna know something the game doesn't tell you? It's that you can actually fly through these green stars to get a boost, which is basically essential to getting first place. So if you didn't know that, you most likely will not beat this challenge. The game never even tells you once about these green stars, and as a kid I struggled with this challenge for weeks, days, a very long time, because I didn't know you could fly through the green stars because the game didn't tell me. Out of all the times Spock stops you to talk to you, he couldn't be bothered to just mention that one little thing. We get the dragonfly for each one completed and simply return, pick up the electric rune, watch as the frame rate slowly dies, and continue on. It's such a shame because at certain points it can run as smooth as butter for like 6 seconds. We then run into our favorite greedy boy Moneybags, and this is the only time he appears. Yep, this staple character that has appeared in Spyro 2 and Spyro 3 too. Yeah, it was quite annoying, he took all your gems and stuff, but he was a staple of the games. He appears once in this entire game. No other levels, no other challenges. This is the only time he appears. With each Spyro game like Spyro 2 and Spyro 3, at the end of the game you can usually get your money back from Moneybags in like a sort of mini game level. In this game though, those 200 gems, you're never getting them back. He just takes them. Did the developers just forget to add him in any other realm? This blows my mind on so many levels. So he makes a bridge for us, we go across and encounter this little guy who has his kite stuck in a tree. Now what you're supposed to do actually is come back here with the ice breath and freeze him so you can jump on top of him and then get the kite, but I mean, you could just do this.
Why are you the way that you are?
Continuing on, we rescue a few more dragons and then we encounter another challenge minigame. And oh boy, this one is bad. Spyro takes control of a tank, which is pretty ironic considering he controls like one. And we got to destroy a few tanks. I died once, I gave up, this minigame sucks, don't do it. As I continued on to the last area, at this point, I was just slowly realizing something. This game just isn't fun. Look how much space there is, and there is nothing but gems, no enemies, nothing. It feels so big but so barren at the same time. The original game had massive areas at times. Hell, the original homeworld was pretty big, but it felt like each space was used, or like it looked pretty at least. Here, there's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. I got through the final area and at this point I didn't even want to play anymore. There was nothing here with merit. So you know what I did? Well, with that electric rune we got, we can place that in the dragon statue, which gives us the electric breath. So we can open this gate to the next area. But instead of doing anything, I immediately ran towards this little pool of water where I continually did this until... So now with this glitch, I am not kidding, you can swim all the way to the final boss and end the game. Unfortunately for me though, the level didn't load all the way, so I was unable to. So I kind of just flew around for a while. There's actually a video of a guy who you can beat this game in 5 minutes. The copy that I own, I think, blocks out trying to get past this gate with the flame breath. Like, literally, you use the flame breath and the frame rate drops so much you're able to glitch through this gate. Now, in the copy that I own, I think it's a more recent copy that was patched, but you can still do that water glitch and swim all the way to the final boss. You can beat this game in 5 minutes. 5 minutes. You can beat this game in about 5 to 10 minutes and nothing is stopping you from doing that. And I recommend doing that because the rest of the game is not worth playing. It's awful. And that is Spyro Enter the Dragonfly. What could have been such an amazing game turned out to be a rushed, glitchy mess which forever left an ugly stain on the Spyro franchise. Now, this isn't the entire game, obviously, but I mean, there isn't much to look at. Credit where credit is due. Some of the levels do look pretty vibrant and nice, but I refuse to continue any further. This game somehow received a platinum copy as well, due to it selling 300,000 copies in the UK. Now, I actually used to own the platinum copy until I sold it to get Burnout Paradise, but I do believe that version has some bug fixes. Don't quote me on that, but I think it did. Also, just putting this out there as I'm wrapping up, I actually never knew this, but apparently in 2007, some parents actually sued Universal and Check 6 due to the game giving their child epileptic seizures. Yes, a Spyro game gave a kid an epileptic seizure, and if that is something to end on, I don't know what is. All in all, yeah, just don't play this game. It's not even fun to play for a joke. You might get a laugh here and there, but you'll just slowly realize you're just wasting your time. Hey everyone, and thank you for watching. What a travesty this was, going back and playing this game. But hey, I had fun editing it at least. If you would like to see more, hit that little subscribe button for me. Come on, I know you can do it. Otherwise, I will mail Enter the Dragonfly to your address. And we don't want that happening now. Thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, take care and goodbye.